We have,
Good morning.
before we proceed with the adoption of the minutes for the last meeting and the calendar, we do have one member of the public wishing to provide comment for today's calendar. Ms. Ruby Kitchen, she's in the back, she'll be speaking from the mic in the back, and she will be commenting on item number 11. Ms. Kitchen?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am the president of Martin Luther King Development. I'm having a problem with the construction, the contractors that's working there on the roof. They have a development of 10 buildings and 14 floors tall, 13 on each corner. My problem is that the contractors are working in an untimely manner. I know that there has been a problem with the weather, but the weather is not the problem. It's the residents are having a lot of leakage in their apartments, especially to the points that they're taking buckets to their bedrooms, and some of them saying that they cannot sleep at night unless they have something to catch the water. It is a serious problem. I've been to everybody that I've known, and I've come to you this morning. I want everybody here to know the situation so that I make sure that I don't skip anyone with the dissatisfaction of the resident. We had a meeting on Wednesday night, and it was 150 residents that came out to that meeting. So therefore, that is to tell you how dissatisfied they are about the conditions with the contractors and their apartments. And if you would sit and listen to the different situations, that it was very alarming. And I think it's time that someone come there. Mr. Clark has been there. I wasn't to that meeting. Sometimes they have meetings and they don't invite residents. But we live there, we know what's happening there, and I think that your communication should be we should be included within your communication. And maybe we can work together and resolve something. Our grounds, we look like we're in Berlin, like somebody came and bombed us. They have taken over the whole development grounds for storage place. They even took part of a parking lot. And it is very disgusting to come out your house and walk into a place that you see nothing but steel. Thank God it's steel, because if it had been wood, I think that the residents or somebody would have set a fire there. The egress entrance that you come out of your building, they have taken that over. So if an ambulance come or a fire department, they will be, excuse me, if an ambulance or any emergency service vehicle come into the parking lot, they decided that they would take the egress area from that development. They told us they only was going to do 3 buildings at a time. And once they do 3 buildings, they was going to move the shuffle and move over to the next set. So, but it has not happened. At present, they're up to 8 buildings that's covered. I'm not saying work is being done on all 8, but it's 8 buildings are covered up there. And I invite the board to come up and see the situation themselves. And then they would understand why I had to come to you as my last resort. I want to thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kitchen. That concludes our public comments portion, and we may now proceed with the adoption of the minutes for the last meeting. Motion to accept?
I motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We may proceed now with the general manager's report.
Morning, Board.
Good morning.
We are beginning to operationalize the next generation NYCHA plan, and we're looking to revisit our key performance indicators accordingly. Beginning in July, I'm going to be sharing with the board and the public our revised and our refocused key performance indicators. For this morning, though, I'd just like to share with you some activities that have been occurring since the board met last, which I just want to bring to your attention. One is working with our stakeholders and our partners. We had an interfaith breakfast, and about 50 members of the clergy from across the city came to an interfaith breakfast to hear more about Next Generation NYCHA. We've gotten a lot of support from the interfaith community, and it becomes a good partner, obviously, moving forward. I want to recognize the Carmelo Anthony Foundation and the refurbishing of basketball courts at Coney Island Houses in Monroe. Carmelo himself came to the Monroe festivities. And I'd also like to recognize Razmia Kirmani Fry, the NYCHA's Director of Public-Private Partnerships. This represents an important relationship that we are looking to the philanthropic and private sectors to assist us in things like playgrounds and recreational facilities. Since the board met last, we've launched our recycling program, and it's part of our next generation goal to reduce NYCHA's carbon footprint. And it was an effort that we had in partnership with the Sanitation Commissioner, Kathleen Garcia, and the Director of the Mayor's Office of Sustainability, Nilda Mesa. And it's a program now that we are committed to becoming fully in line with all of the city requirements around recycling. But most importantly, it's just the right thing to do. You'll be talking about the submission of our financials later in the agenda, but a recognition and support of de Blasio's administration. It's now official, the $33 million payment in lieu of taxes that we've been paying for the longest time has now been officially taken away, that our responsibilities are no longer to pay that $33 million. A recognition that it's the importance that the mayor has in being part of the next generation solution. You've heard a lot about roofs and roof replacement. Again, we proud to announce that we actually have started the roof replacement work at Queensbridge, and that's something that we're going to continue to recognize the relationship of major capital needs and the work order issues that we talk about. It's a direct relationship. The $17 billion of capital need is a real number, and that real number has an impact on our ability to maintain our sites on the work order side of the business. And finally, just a recognition of our safety symposium, the work that our team is working with the unions to make sure that we have a safe work environment. There was a symposium that was held at Johnson Community Center last week, which was just really a fantastic event. It shows, again, the commitment that we have and the partnership we have with the unions to ensure that our workplaces are safe. And so with that, Board, that completes the report of the General Manager.
We may proceed with item number 1.
Good morning, Board and General Manager. I'm Kathy Pennington, Executive Vice President for Youth Housing, and I am seeking authorization for approval to assume the transfer of 125 Housing Choice vouchers and the associated funding for 5-year mainstream program from the New York State Housing Trust Fund Corporation. These vouchers are designated for elderly and non-elderly disabled households, and this request for approval is a requirement from HUD to do a transfer of funds from one housing authority to another. Any questions?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm David Farber, General Counsel. I'm seeking authorization today to amend and restate the authority's contract procedure resolution, the CPR. The CPR contains NYCHA's procurement and contracting rules. At the end of 2014, HUD adopted a restated and set of procurement rules that are mostly the same as the rules that existed. So with some changes, we are now amending and restating our contract procedure resolution in order to incorporate and reflect the changes from HUD. There are two, we think there are only really two substantive changes that I'd like to point out. One is that the small purchase threshold is increased from 100,000 to 150,000, and that when we do sole source procurements, which are $5,000 and under, we're required to ensure that there's an equitable distribution of those procurements among different vendors and suppliers. Thank you.
Can I just say one thing? Because you don't hear us asking any questions, we have prior meetings with everyone who's making presentations, and we do get to get questions and answers at those times. So it's like you're asking the question, it's already been answered for some of us.
Good morning, Richard Couch, Chief Financial Officer. I'll be presenting items 3, 4, and 5. Item 3, I'm requesting authorization for the approval of investment transactions that were performed by the Authority's Treasury Department for the quarter ended March 31st, 2015. These transactions were performed in accordance with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development Office of Public and Indian Housing Notice PIH 2002-13. The report outlines the Authority's cash and investment position, provides a brief overview of operational changes in cash affecting the change in investments, and provides a current and historical rates of return on Authority investments as a measure of investment performance. We close out the first quarter with a net portfolio increase of $22,340,428 from the prior quarter. The executive summary portion of the report outlines the major categories of cash flow affecting the change in investments during this quarter. We just ended the quarter with an investment portfolio of $1,334,328,429, excluding fiscal agent investments. During the first quarter, the Authority earned $2,141,895. Overall rate of return of 65 basis points in the first quarter exceeded a comparable benchmark 3-month Treasury bill rate of return of 2 basis points, as well as a 12-month Treasury bill portfolio return of 20 basis points. For the 12-month period, interest earned on the investments totaled $6,442,705, a return of 55 basis points, which exceeded a comparable return on a 3-month Treasury bill return by 53 basis points and exceeded the 12-month Treasury bill rate of return by 45 basis points. Thank you. Item number 4, I am requesting authorization to amend the agreement with Doney & Associates, LLC, for services associated with the management, workflow processes, and training associated with RiskWorks, the Authority's automated insurance compliance tracking system. Doney & Associates was initially retained by the Authority under an Office of General Services backdrop contract to assist the Authority's Risk Finance Department to analyze the insurance workflow and subsequent tracking process at the Authority for the vendors, insurance, and create a new automated process. In order to address gaps in the process deliverables and amendments of the original requirements, which must be reconfigured, tested, and implemented as new operations are identified. The increase of the not-to-exceed amount of $100,000 is being requested in order to fund the continued provisions of services for the remainder of the agreement extension period, which commenced on February 1st, 2015, and is continuing through January 31st, 2016. Item number 5, I am requesting authorization to enter into an agreement with the Risk Management Planning Group, Inc. to provide third-party claims administration and medical management services for the Authority's Workers' Compensation Program commencing on August 1st, 2015 and continuing through July 31st, 2020 for an amount not to exceed $10,991,791. The Authority has a self-insured workers' compensation program. Risk Management Planning Group will provide workers' compensation claims administration and medical management services to injured workers as required by the New York State Workers' Compensation Law.
Thank you.
Good morning, Ray Robaro, Executive Vice President for Capital Projects. I will be presenting items 6 through 13. Item number 6 is requesting the board's authorization to award a contract to Marek Mechanical, Inc. in the amount of $2,538,478. And this project is to replace the burners at Throgs Neck houses. The burners at all 4 existing boilers will be replaced as part of this project. Marek Mechanical has a long history with NYCHA, a very successful history of previous projects, and therefore we're recommending award of this project to Marek Mechanical. Item number 7 is requesting the board's authorization to award another boiler replacement contract to Marek Mechanical, Inc. This is for the entire replacement of the boilers at Ingersoll houses, and the value of this contract is $13,840,000. And the scope of work in this particular project provides for the replacement of all 4 of the boilers at that particular development. Again, Marek Mechanical has a very good history with us. Item number...
They have a good history with us, but my question is the good history inclusive of hiring residents for those Section 3 positions?
Yes, it is.
They do hire from the development. They don't bring their Section 3 workers from somewhere else. They hire from Ingersoll.
Marek Mechanical, I can't say specifically in this particular case where they're going to specifically get their hires from. Marek Mechanical, because of the amount of work that they have with us, they do have a number of NYCHA residents that they have hired on their staff. So it is possible that that staff will be used at Ingersoll, even though they do not live at Ingersoll.
See, the concern that I have is that the residents, when they see all this work going on, and none of the people that they know from the community are working on those sites, it's like they're in non-compliance.
Again, the Section 3 requirements are that there are NYCHA residents, and it is not specifically, we do try and get residents from that particular development, but as you can see from this particular, right, they have 2 contracts at 2 different developments. It's entirely possible that they hire a crew, and that crew just goes from development to development doing work, and therefore there is not the letting somebody go from one development to hire somebody, yet another person from a second development. We can get you, again, I don't know specifically what their plan is on this particular contract. They've indicated that they are going to comply. They have a number of hires proposed, but I don't know specifically what developments they're proposed to come from. Item number 8 is requesting the board's authorization to award a contract to North Star Mechanical Corporation in the amount of $4,625,000. This is for the replacement of the 3 existing dual-fuel boilers at Fort Washington Avenue Rehab. North Star is a minority-owned company that has done some work for NYCHA in the past, and again, their performance has been satisfactory, so we're recommending award to North Star. Item number 9 is requesting the board's authorization to award a contract to Technico Construction Services, Inc. They are the lowest responsive and responsible bidder for the exterior brickwork restoration and roof replacement proposed at Albany 1 and Albany 2 developments. This particular project is being awarded in the amount of $37,728,396.72. I should point out that this particular project is one of the city-funded roof replacement contracts, so some of this work will be funded with the mayor's allocation of $100 million to NYCHA for roof replacement. And this work will occur at all 9 buildings in those 2 developments. Item number 10 is requesting the board's authorization to approve a change order in the amount of $818,371.11. This change order is associated with our existing brick and roof replacement contract at Taft Houses. This is part of NYCHA's overall bond program. This particular change order is being requested because as we did asbestos abatement, we found actually additional areas of asbestos abatement that we were not aware of when we prepared the initial designs. In addition to that, when we removed the existing roofs from the buildings, we found that the existing railings on the rooftop railings the posts for those railings underneath the roof were actually significantly corroded, and therefore to ensure safety on the rooftop, we're requesting that those railings be replaced. So those two changes were not part of the original bid, and we're requesting to proceed with that work as a change order, as I said, for $818,000.
Can I just go back to item number 9? I want to echo something that Ms. Kitchen said about the disruption when the work is being done. Here it says you have 9 buildings, and how are they gonna parcel out the work so that they're not all over the place and everything is chaotic? They're gonna work over here, and that's gonna stay okay, and then they'll swap.
All right, so as Ms. Kitchen alluded to, right, there is generally a plan for how we execute this. It's a plan that we try and balance, right, executing the contract and getting the improvements delivered with minimizing the impact to residents. Whenever we're doing work on a building, we have to put up the sidewalk shed to protect the public. So generally what we do is 2, 3, sometimes even 4, depending on the size of the contract, of buildings are worked on at the same time, multiple crews working on multiple roofs at the same time. And we would start with all of the asbestos abatement that needs to be done. The next step in that would be all of the brickwork. And then that crew, the asbestos crew would move on to the next building, the brick crew would follow them. When the brick crew is done, they would move on to the next building, and the roof crew would come onto the site. So it is possible, right, it's sort of a sequence of work. So it is possible that 2 buildings will have asbestos abatement going on, 2 buildings will have brickwork going on, and 2 buildings will have roof replacement going on. And it's sort of a series that's carried throughout the development. So in a scenario like that, we could have multiple buildings with sidewalk shed up. But again, our desire is to keep that to an absolute minimum.
And as soon as the work is finished, to take it down so that at least those people get the relief of the scaffold being removed.
That's correct. We have to, I mean, that's the intent. We have to get the permission from DOB to remove that scaffolding. They come and inspect the work and ensure that all the unsafe conditions on the facades have been addressed. Once we get that authorization from DOB, yes, we would remove the shed.
Can I just add to that? Because I went to the COP meeting in Manhattan North, and the complaints from some of the residents where these contracts are going on is that I understand that they have to bring their equipment in to do the work, but they're taking over the community centers in some developments, and that's really a no-no because there's no place for the children or the seniors or whatever to go to. So with that being said, I think the contractors should have a designated area. I understand what you just said, that it's a flow of work that, has to be done, from brickwork to different types of work that they are doing. But the thing is, maybe the superintendent and the manager should be a little bit more clearer where they put their work, their stuff that they have to use, because it's causing problems in a lot of the developments, because they're just coming in and just taking over a given spot, and it may be a spot that the developer needs to have for the community or the residents to utilize.
And that's something that we've heard over and over again, especially lately. And it's sort of, we're all a victim of our own success here. We're doing a $500 million bond project. We're doing $100 million with city money of roof projects. We have our regular federal program, right? So there's a significant amount of work that's going on out at our developments. As a result of that, right, we're getting a lot of these types of issues being brought to our attention. However, I need to say that when it comes to the contractor's actual staging area, that is something that we coordinate with property management, and we keep that area to an absolute minimum. However, there are other areas on the property that we have to close, not because we want to, not because the contractor wants to, not because the contractor just wants to occupy more space, but the Department of Buildings requires us, when we're doing work on the facades, within a certain distance of that work, there can be no public access to a parking lot, a playground, a sidewalk. And so in order to comply with DOB requirements, we either need to put up sidewalk shed, or in the case of playgrounds and parking lots where you can't put up sidewalk shed, we have to physically close those areas. And as I said before, the idea is to coordinate the work so that those closures are kept to an absolute minimum. We understand that they are a disruption, but the idea is, right, we have to do it, but we try and do it in a way that keeps that disruption to an absolute minimum.
And then that goes back to what Ms. Kitchen had testified in the beginning, that the presidents or the executive board should be included in these meetings with the manager and the superintendent, so they can relate to the residents what is going on and why they have to block certain areas, while this work is going on, because they want the work to be done. But, we need to be more understandable, about these people, because, they live there, and they need an explanation as to why things are being done in a certain way.
Completely agree. With all of our projects, we have either weekly or bi-weekly progress meetings on the project to discuss the work that has been completed, as well as the work that's upcoming, and property management, as well as the resident leaders are invited to those meetings.
Well, she just said that they wasn't, so
Great, and
I don't know.
I'll speak to her afterwards, but they are invited to all of, they should be invited to all of those
Okay,
meetings.
okay.
I want to go to the front end of the process. When they have the pre-start meeting and they're speaking with manager regarding putting up sheds, is there in place a time frame from the point that they put up the sheds to the time where they begin the work?
Obviously that is no specific timeline, but it should be measured in days. It's not, sidewalk shed would not go up. In a regular planned project, sidewalk shed should not be going up without there being work starting immediately thereafter.
Because that is a major concern in a lot of the developments. Sheds go up, but a lot of the work isn't being done.
Okay.
And it's just the sheds, and that's a concern.
Understood.
Or at least this is what they're saying.
As I said, right, all of this work needs to be coordinated. So as an example, right, I described before how brickwork was being done, right? They're pretty much the first crew that shows up. They're actually the second crew. The first crew that shows up would be the sidewalk shed crew. And the idea would be that the sidewalk shed crew, if a brick crew has another week's worth of work on a particular building, they're going to the next building after that, the sidewalk shed crew would be dispatched to put up the sidewalk shed in anticipation in the coming days of that brick crew coming right behind it. The problem is, if we get 2 days of rain, in the interim, the work on that last building can't be finished up, right? They get delayed by 2 days, and the sidewalk shed sits there for an extra 2 days. The idea is all of that work is sequenced in a way that the sidewalk shed, without any active work, is kept to an absolute minimum.
Thank you, Ray.
I forgot what item number I was on.
Number 11. Number 11.
Item number 11 is requesting the board's authorization to approve a change order for the brick and roof work going on currently at Sackhorn Houses. This is also another one of our bond program, part of our bond program. In this particular case, we're requesting a change order in the amount of $923,906.20. This particular change order is being requested because as we were doing work on the brickwork on the chimney, we noticed that the existing chimney liner inside of that chimney was beginning to crack. And we would like to proactively go in there and replace that chimney liner with a new stainless steel chimney liner before that existing chimney liner further deteriorates and presents an opportunity for fumes and exhaust to enter into apartments. So this is a proactive change that we are requesting in order to ensure the continued proper operation of that chimney. Item number 12 is requesting the board's authorization to reject all bids associated with a contract that was out to bid for a laundry room upgrade at Ingersoll Houses. This particular project, when it went out to bid, the lowest responsive bidder, AAH Construction Corp., failed to submit the required letter of assent, and their price was significantly higher than our cost estimate, and therefore we are recommending that the bids be rejected. We are in the process of issuing some new job order contracts, job contracts, that will be presented to the board shortly, and we believe that we can deliver this project through those upcoming job contracts. I should have pointed out also that this project was funded with city cap city capital dollars rather than NYCHA's federal program. Item number 13 is requesting authorization from the board to enter into an MOU with 4 other agencies. The MOU will be between NYCHA, the Mayor's Office of Criminal Justice, the District Attorney's Office, the New York City Police Department, and the New York City Office of Management and Budget. This particular MOU is associated with the $89,238,500 that the DA has allocated specifically to NYCHA for CCTV layered access and exterior lighting improvements at the MAP sites located, the 18 developments included in the mayor's initiative to address safety and security at 18 of our developments.
Excuse me, I have a question. With this the cameras and stuff, at certain developments, when the scaffolding went up, they couldn't finish putting all of the cameras in place. So will some of this money go to finish doing that? Although they've gotten money maybe from the council before, but when the scaffolding went up, they were supposed to finish doing it once the scaffolding came down and they finished the brickwork.
So I'm not aware that any of the original city council funded CCTV cameras were not installed because of the sidewalk shedding. But that being said, the intent of this program is to fully outfit these 18 developments with a full complement of CCTV and layered access. If they have any of that, and there are a couple of developments that do have some of that already installed with previous funding, through previous funding, this DA money will be used to simply fill the gap and install whatever was not installed as part of the previously funded project.
Okay.
Good morning. Louis Ponce, Senior Vice President of Operations for Support Services. Item number 14 seeks authorization to enter an agreement with Garner Environmental Services Incorporated for an amount not to exceed $31,139,512. This is a blanket backdrop agreement under an existing United States General Services Administration contract. It's a 3-year agreement with 2 one-year renewal options to be exercised at the authority's sole discretion. Garner is a full-service environmental company offering services, products, and equipment rental in connection with emergency and disaster response. Many of the items and services provided by this vendor were used after Hurricane Sandy and will be utilized during a similar event if it occurs in the future. The services provided under this contract include water pumps, generators, heaters, equipment to move supplies and material, fuel tanks, tractors, cranes, storage containers, ready-to-eat meals, water, ice, portable bathroom facilities, base camps, tractor trailers, specialized trucks, and also specialized personnel. It is recommended that the members authorize the chair, the general manager, or respective designee to enter into this agreement with Garner Environmental Services to provide these services, supplies, equipment, and personnel to the authority as needed, but especially during an emergency, to effectively manage and quickly restore service to our residents. Thank you.
Good morning again. Richard Couch, Chief Financial Officer. I am item number 15. I am requesting authorization to approve the issuance of the authority's audited annual financial statements for the fiscal year ended December 31st, 2014, and the single audit report for the fiscal year ended December 31st, 2014. These financial reports are issued in accordance with the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development Uniform Financial Reporting Standards and the United States Office of Management and Budget Circular A-133, Audits of State and Local Governments and Nonprofits Organizations. HUD requires that all public housing authorities publish audited financial statements within 9 months of the close of the fiscal year, a complete set of financials presented in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. The financial reports consist of management's representations concerning the finances of the authority and have been audited by Ernst & Young, the authority's independent certified public accountants. On May 27th and June 17th, 2015, the 2014 financial reports were reviewed and presented to the authority's audit committee. The audit committee recommended board approval of the financial reports in compliance with the audit committee charter. Thank you.
Vice Chair, 15 items were presented for board approval. Do I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Any other business? Any other motions?
I move that the members be authorized to meet in committee and executive sessions today and on any adjourned or rescheduled future date to discuss tenancy termination proceedings, grievances, real estate, and financial matters concerning the authority.
Thank you. Adjourned.
Thank you very much. Adjourned.